Aloha Hawai'i Craftsmen members. One of the pleasures of being president of Hawai'i Craftsmen is being part of celebrating your achievements here tonight. On behalf of the board, I would like to welcome everyone to the opening of Hawai'i Craftsmen's annual statewide exhibition 2020. Hawai'i Craftsmen remains dedicated to provide safe exhibition opportunities to its members as well as the general public, even in our current health crisis. Today, we are very excited to announce our partnership with the Downtown Art Center and their commitment to providing community art space in Honolulu. This is the Art Center's main exhibition hall, and we're thrilled to kick off their opening with our annual show. Hawai'i Craftsmen would like to acknowledge the following foundations and organizations for their support: the Hawaii State Foundation on Culture and the Arts, the Hawaii Community Foundation, the Atherton Foundation, the Cook Foundation, the McNerney Foundation, the National Endowment for the Arts, the Lila Twigg Smith Art Fund, and several private family foundations. I would also like to acknowledge the tremendous leadership of annual statewide exhibition chair, Chris Edwards. He's been tireless not only in making sure that the show will run despite the ever-changing health conditions, but also in the 6-month process of finding and securing an exhibition hall for this event. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge the support of all of our membership. Hawai'i Craftsmen would not be here without you, and the show would not look so beautiful without your talents. Now I would like to introduce the chair of the annual statewide exhibition, Chris Edwards.
Thank you, Mark. I'm so happy to welcome each and every one of you to the opening of Hawai'i Craftsmen's 53rd annual statewide exhibition. Well, this has not been a normal year, but holy cow, we did it! The very first exhibition in the brand new Downtown Art Center. I've just been astounded by the resilience and the grit and the determination that each of you has shown to make this exhibition happen. We've adapted to this craziness. We've focused on what is most important to us, and I know we will come out of this as stronger artists and better people. So thank you to all of you. Now, as you know, this is a juried exhibition, and it was a great honor this year to have Susan Sarah Batten as our juror. She's currently the executive director at the San Jose Museum of Art and has an incredible career in the arts, spanning disciplines from leadership to curation to education and critical writing. Just to name a few of her many accomplishments, she is past director of Dia Beacon in New York, served as deputy director at the Hammer Museum in Los Angeles, and was deputy director of our very own Honolulu Museum of Art. We've asked her to put together a presentation about her work and her reflections on the jurying process. And then immediately following this, we'll be announcing this year's award-winning work, so stay tuned. And now, I hope you enjoy Sarah's presentation to you, the artists of Hawai'i Craftsmen.
Hello, Hawaii. I am so honored to be the juror this year for the Hawai'i Craftsmen statewide exhibition, despite the very strange times we live in. In fact, I was thrilled by the invitation and the opportunity to come to Hawaii to jury the works in person on 5 islands. For those of you who do not know me, I lived and worked in Hawaii back and forth from Los Angeles from 1993 to 2008 when I worked at the Honolulu Museum of Art, then called the Academy. During those years, I attended the Hawai'i Craftsmen statewide exhibition every year it was on view at the Linikona School, and attended the Raku several times. So I know and respect the artists and craftspeople working in Hawaii. In March, all of our lives changed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and my number one message to you and your families is to wish you good health and continued safety during this health crisis. I know that Hawaii is just in the process of limited reopening to visitors, and I hope that maybe I can come the week before Thanksgiving and see the very end of the Hawai'i Craftsmen exhibition, if it is still up. And maybe I can say hello to some of you then, with our masks on and at a social distance. I am now the Oshman Executive Director of the San Jose Museum of Art, which is the only contemporary art museum in Silicon Valley. In fact, we're here at the museum today for this recording. I've had a long career working in museums, but started as a working and exhibiting artist in ceramics and sculpture, and also studied papermaking and created artist books. After majoring in ceramics and completing my BFA in studio art at Denison University, studying with Neil Tetkowski and an independent project with the artist Dennis Oppenheim, I went to Princeton University solely for the opportunity to study with Hawaii's own Toshiko Takaezu in ceramics. To audition as her student, she invited me to her home and studio and asked me to help prepare the meal with the other artists and students there, which I was happy to do. She asked me to wash and dry the lettuce for an enormous salad, and after giving me some very clear instructions, she asked me to take the wet lettuce in a pillowcase and go out in the garden and dance where she could see me dry it out. I did my best, and when I came in, she asked to see my slides and said I could be her student for my postgraduate work. I was in Toshiko's class at Princeton for the 3-year course of study and learned many things about ceramics and sculpture, but more importantly about life in and out of the classroom. She took me to New York City with her to meet her friend and longtime collaborator Lenore Tawney, the great fiber artist, and that was around the time of her solo exhibition at the American Craft Museum. She took me to class at the Urasenke School to study tea ceremony in the former studio of Mark Rothko. And she introduced me to Isamu Noguchi and other artists who changed my life forever. In 1988, her beloved mother died, and she brought me to Hawaii ostensibly to help set up a large exhibition that she was having in Honolulu. She graciously introduced me to her family and community there. From there, I knew that I hoped I would come to Hawaii to live one day. And when I was offered a job at the Honolulu Academy of Arts in 1992 to start a project with the James Michener collection of ukiyo-e, I gladly accepted. My career had evolved then from working and teaching to a focus on the care and exhibition of museum collections, and I had become a specialist in the history of works on paper and books. I'm extremely grateful for the many years working in Hawaii with dynamic and inspirational people, with artists, with curators, and supporters of the museum and of the arts. These friends and colleagues are part of my DNA and remain with me forever. The opportunity to jury the Hawai'i Craftsmen entries this year was very challenged. It was announced that the show would go on in this COVID environment, but that the jurying would be virtual. I urged the organizers actually to postpone the project for a year, but they replied not only would it happen this year, but that they had the highest number of entries ever. So I'm extremely pleased to report that the quality of submissions was incredibly high, and you all should be proud of your work. Due to space, I was only allowed to select a limited number of submissions, which was actually really hard. And this was true blind jurying. I was not told any of the names of any of the artists and submitted my entries to the organizers only by their entry number. Despite the difficulty of paring down these selections, the works in the show exhibit some of the very strong traditions in Hawaii, in ceramics, in glass, in fiber, wood, metal, jewelry, paper, prints, and mixed media, those traditions that I've observed for 30 years. And as importantly, some of the stronger works in the exhibition picked up the conceptual themes of our current times. And artist statements referred to climate change and the natural world, memory, the tragedy of gun violence, social justice, and the roots of Hawaiian traditional craft. Other artists referred to the state of our political culture and need for activism, references to the sadness of Ruth Bader Ginsburg's passing, and even the influences of the arts of Japan as touchstones in their practice. One artist stated, and I quote, "In these times of struggle, we are all emerging from a fragmented world, not knowing what to expect of the future," unquote. A particularly noteworthy work that received an award for excellence is titled Catastrophe Pot of 2020, which appears to have exploded as an emblem of the strange times we live in, but but is actually highly crafted in its achievement of its conceptual goal. I applaud all of the artists selected this year for excellence and hope to learn more about your practices. On the mainland, we've had a crazy year here as well, starting with the COVID pandemic and then moving into the worst fire season in history in California due to a random, rare lightning storm that caused 350 fires and has burned millions of acres and continues to affect our air quality. I was affected personally and had to evacuate my home. Fortunately, we were able to return safely, but that has not been the story of so many who lost their homes and lives. Nationally, as you know, millions of people are out of work, and the impact on the arts has been devastating. Artists have lost jobs and opportunities to perform, and the Alliance of Art Museums predicts that 1/3 of all museums will close as a result of this crisis. Here at SJMA, our funding was cut 75% by the city, who had prior to that been our largest funder. And the situation looked really dark in the March through June period. For many artists working in this bleak horizon, people began to question whether or not art is really essential after governments declared, literally, that art-related businesses and cultural institutions were non-essential. Projects were postponed and canceled, jobs were lost, exhibitions dashed, and life for creatives has been extremely dismal. However, many foundations and private individuals have stepped up their support of arts institutions in the hope that we can all get through this. I am proud to report that it's our experience here at the San Jose Museum of Art, despite all the challenges. And as a symbol of hope, we were able to commission a major artwork and install it during the pandemic, the mobile behind me by the artist Pei White. As Pei wrote, art can speak truth to power. It can offer fresh ways of seeing, exposing entrenched realities, or it can invent entirely new ones. Art is a fundamental expression from one human to another. It connects people, inviting curiosity, broadening perspective, and expanding acceptance of diversity and difference. So, with these words in this socially distanced COVID moment, art is still being shared because creative expression is a fundamental part of being human. We have trusted the artistic impulse to make sense of crises and change. So I thank you for inviting me to be a part of your exhibition this year and encourage you to continue to use your work to open new windows to completely different worlds. You truly inspire me. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. That was wonderful. And now it's my great honor to present to you our 15 award winners. You know, each award directly supports our artists, and I want to personally say mahalo nui loa to our supporters for their incredible generosity and aloha in this time that we need it the most. Well, congratulations to you all. And now, a few last words of appreciation. I want to extend a big thank you to Sandy Pohl, Carol Kuhawk, and Barbara Rao at the Downtown Art Center for their vision and just relentless dedication to supporting the creative community in Hawaii. And I would also like to personally thank each and every volunteer. You know, this exhibition is completely volunteer run with over 70 volunteers across the state and literally thousands and thousands of volunteer hours. So I want each of you to know how much I appreciate you. You know, this exhibition would not happen without you. You are this exhibition, so thank you. And I hope you will come visit us in this beautiful new exhibition space. I really believe art should be experienced in person, and we've made every effort to make this a safe experience for our visitors. So please make some time to stop by. And now, with warmest aloha, it's my pleasure to announce the opening of the Hawai'i Craftsmen Annual Statewide Exhibition 2020.